welcome back, Love Nation. Like, share, and subscribe. We have some breaking news. Diddy is being sued again by another woman. This time, she brought evidence, pictures to the table. He is being sued again by the lawyers that represented Cassie. He put out a statement is saying enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I've sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character and destroy my rep. He's basically saying that these allegations are not true, and I will fight for my name, my family, and truth. We have it, and they just filed this in the New York District Court, you guys. Trigger warning. I'm going to show you guys the entire 14-page document. Trigger warning, here we go. This is a new lawsuit that was filed today, 12/6/23. This is a fresh lawsuit. The plaintiff is anonymous, so they are using Jane Doe as the plaintiff. They're saying that this lady was underage, 17 years of age to be specific. She's being represented by the same lawyers that represented Cassie. And I just posted Sean Combs, aka Diddy's, response before this complaint. Now we are going to go through this complaint. She filed it against Sean Combs, Harvey Pierre, which is one of the producers, one of the well-known producers, Third Assailant, Daddy's House Recordings, Inc., and Bad Boy Entertainment Holdings, Inc. There is a trigger warning on this, just as it was a trigger warning on the Cassie Ventura document that we have previously explored. Again, there is a trigger warning for the SA nature of this document. And again, this is breaking news today. So they are saying that on November 16th, 2023, Cassie Ventura, aka Cassie, filed a 35-page lawsuit which she exposed Sean Combs for subjecting her to nearly a decade of physical, SA, and emotional abuse punctuated by the R word, trafficking, and being forced to engage in pharmaceutical fueled non consensual SA encounters with other men. Ordinarily, when a lawsuit such as Cassie's is filed that involves events that took place long ago, witnesses are few and far between and evidence hard to muster. Not so for this claim brought against Diddy. Within minutes of the filing, salient facts of Cassie's claims were confirmed by various witnesses, including a rival musician whose car Diddy blew up, as well as various individuals who observed Diddy put his hands on Cassie. Again, this document was filed today, you guys. You can see it was filed 12/6/23. So this is a new lawsuit. Only a few days later, two other lawsuits were filed against Diddy. In one, plaintiff Joy Dickerson Neal alleged that Diddy pharmaceuticaled her and essayed her when she was a college student. The other lawsuit accused Diddy and singer Aaron Hall of doing stuff to the plaintiff and another unidentified woman in a non consensual way. At the same time, a fourth lawsuit was filed, this one against Diddy's companies and defendant Harvey Pierre, the longtime president of Bad Boy Entertainment Holdings. The suit alleged that Mr. Pierre, who is Harvey, used his position of power at Bad Boys to groom and SA his former assistant, and that Bad Boy looked the other way at the time. This is now the fifth lawsuit filed against Diddy in the last 3 weeks. Incredibly, the allegations brought by Ms. Doe are in many ways even more egregious than those brought by his prior victims. Specifically in 2003, when she was only 17 years old and in the 11th grade. Ms. Doe was SA'd and gang R word, oh my God, by Diddy and Harvey and the third assailant. In short, when she was a teenager, Jane Doe met with Harvey and the third assailant in a lounge in Detroit, Michigan area. While at the lounge, Harvey insisted that he was best friends with Diddy and even called Diddy with Jane Doe. Mr. Combs convinced Jane Doe, who was half his age at the time, to accompany Harvey and the third assailant on a private jet to come to his studio in New York City. Before they left for the private jet, Harvey smoked the C word in a bathroom at the lounge, in which he also SA'd Jane Doe by forcing her to give him fellatio. The third assailant is a pseudonym. This is court notes. When the name of the third assailant is revealed during discovery, plaintiff will seek to amend the complaint to replace the pseudonym. Wow, I'm really wondering who this third person is. This is too much. Harvey Pierre and the third assailant and another gentleman then escorted the high schooler to a private jet, which flew them to Teterboro, New Jersey. There were SUVs waiting the group at Teterboro, and the four of them were driven to Daddy's house recording studio, a studio famously owned and operated by Diddy and Bad Boy Records. While at the studio, Diddy and his associates, including Mr. Pierre, plied Miss Jane with pharmaceuticals and drinking. As the night wore on, the 17-year-old Jane Doe became more and more inebriated, eventually to the point that she could not possibly have consented to have relations with anyone, much less someone twice her age. While at the studio, Jane Doe was gang R-worded by Diddy, the third assailant, and Harvey Pierre in that order. Diddy was R-wording Jane Doe. He complained that he could not get off unless she pinched his man parts as hard as she could. Diddy then watched on as third assailant, who is Jane Doe had not even realized had begun to essay her. Jane Doe did tell him to stop. After the third assailant was finished, Harvey Pierre took his turn, R-wording Jane Doe, then violently forcing her to give him fellatio, during which Jane Doe had hands around her neck and was struggling to breathe. When Harvey Pierre finished, he left Jane Doe in the bathroom alone. Jane Doe fell into a fetal position and lay on the floor. Her woman parts were in pain. Finally, after a period of time, Jane Doe regained her bearings. However, she could barely stand up following the gang R word and had to be helped to walk out of the building and back into a car. She was taken back to the airport and flown back to Michigan. However, she had very limited recollection of her transport home and only remembers being in the car sometime early in the morning. Unlike many victims who have come forward after decades, Miss Jane Doe can prove that she not only met Diddy on the night in question, but was in his studio in New York City with him on that night. Remember, when viewing these, Jane Doe was 17 years old, and her face is blurred, you guys. Her face is blurred. These are her pictures, and they are blurred. Jane Doe has lived with these memories of that fateful night for 20 years, during which time she has suffered extreme emotional distress that has impacted her nearly every aspect. In court note, Jane Doe's face has been blurred in the following pictures for the purpose of anonymity. Her life and personal relationships has also been bad. Given the brave women who have come forward against Diddy and Harvey Pierre in recent weeks, Jane Doe is doing the same. To that end, Jane Doe brings this action-seeking injunctive declaratory and monetary relief against defendants in violation of the Victims of Gender Motivated Protection Law Act of New York City, Code 10-1101. Jurisdiction and venue. The court has jurisdiction over this matter pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1332 as this involves citizens of different states and the amount in controversy in this matter exceeds $75,000. The court has supplemental jurisdiction over plaintiffs' related claims arising under the state and city pursuant of 28 U.S.C. 1367A. Pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1391B, venue is improper to this court because a substantial part of the events or omissions given rise to the actions, including the unlawful employment practices and intentional neglect, tortious conduct alleged herein occurred in this district. The parties. Plaintiff Jane Doe is a citizen of Canada. This defendant Sean Combs is a citizen of the state of California. Defendant Harvey Pierre is a citizen of the state of New York. Defendant's third assailant is, upon information and belief, a citizen of the state of New York. That will be in question, you guys, because obviously, if you want to look back through the facts, we have to think of someone that was associated, that could be third assailant, who lives in New York State. That might narrow it down because this person is anonymous. Defendant Daddy's House Recording is a music media and entertainment company founded and owned by the defendant, Sean Combs. Daddy's House is incorporated and headquartered in New York City. During the relevant time period, Daddy's House and or Sean Combs owned and operated the Daddy's House recording studio wherein Jane Doe was R-worded by Diddy, Harvey Pierre, and third assailant. Defendant Bad Boy Entertainment Holdings is a music media and entertainment company founded and owned by defendant Sean Diddy Combs. Bad Boy is incorporated and headquartered in New York City. During the relevant time period, Bad Boy and or Sean Diddy Combs owned and operated the Daddy's House recording studio wherein Jane Doe was R-worded by the three defendants. Actual allegations. In 2003, Jane Doe was 17 years old, in the 11th grade, residing in a suburb of Detroit, Michigan. At the time, Diddy was 34, twice the age of Jane Doe, and one of the most well-known and influential music artists of all time. A decade earlier, Diddy founded Bad Boy and installed his longtime friend, Harvey Pierre, into the role of president. At the time, Diddy had many connections to Michigan, including, among others, to the Black Mafia family, BMF, a trafficking and laundering organization that is rumored to have seeded Bad Boy. Accordingly, upon information and belief, Diddy's associates, including Harvey Pierre and third assailant, spent significant time in and around Detroit, Michigan. On one evening between the spring and fall of 2003, Jane Doe was out with friends. It was not uncommon for her and her friends to frequent bars and lounges in the Detroit area. Certain of Jane Doe's friends were well connected with people in the music industry. On the evening in question, Jane Doe was with friends in the lounge when she was approached by who she later learned was Harvey Pierre. Harvey Pierre was with his own friends, including the third assailant. Pierre, the third assailant, and their friends were dressed in suits. He repeatedly complimented Jane Doe's appearance, saying that she was hot, among other things. He then began talking about his self-described best friend and brother, Diddy Combs. Specifically, Harvey Pierre continually stated that Diddy would love to meet Jane Doe. He even called Diddy and put him on the phone. Diddy told Jane Doe that he would love to meet her and that she should accompany Harvey to New York in a private jet. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Pierre directed Jane Doe to go with him into the bathroom at the lounge. Once inside the bathroom, he began to do stuff that he shouldn't have been doing, the C word, from what appeared to be from an aluminum can. After he finished doing it, Harvey suddenly took out his man parts and demanded that Jane Doe do what she need to do and give him fellatio and force Jane Doe's head down his pants. After essaying Jane Doe, Harvey directed her to accompany him and the third assailant and a third member of the group to the airport in Pontiac, Michigan, where Signature, a fixed base operator, had prepared the jet to take the four of them to New York City. Upon information and belief, the private jet landed at Teterboro Airport. Upon departing the jet, two black SUVs were awaiting the group. Jane Doe got into the SUV with them. The SUV brought the group to Daddy's house recording studio, where they hung out, and these incidents happened after she was escorted into the building. And I'm paraphrasing, but a lot of this is going again into what we had already talked about. And they're saying again, this is a copy of the picture from the night in question. The woman's face is blurred. And they're basically saying that the night had become more and more of a blur as this went on. And these are the pictures in question. They're also saying that she kept telling him no, but they did not stop until they were finished. So the bottom of this document is summarizing it. And you guys are welcome to pause this document. I just wanted to show you guys what is going on with this. Again, feel free to pause this document to read this, but this is basically going over what we had talked about. I am very, very, I want to know who this third person is. And the bottom is basically saying that they are looking for a monetary settlement plus attorney fees. It is signed by whoever needed to sign this, and this is page 14, the end of the document. I just wanted to go over this with you guys. This is truly, truly sad. Truly sad. And again, you guys can see that this was time-stamped, dated, and filed in the court December 6th. As more developments come out of this, I will definitely be coming back to make another video, you guys. Like, share, subscribe. Till next time, be safe. Enjoy your day. Bye, guys.